normal in-person small group, you want to value acceptance, confidentiality, and honesty.
So that might mean, repeating those things during your small group if it's
Yep.
online, because of they're in a new context. If they're online, they're not meeting in their small group location. It's different for them, so they have to be reminded that everything they say needs to be held in the utmost confidence.
That's very good. And I said it earlier, when you make a change, you get to emphasize what's important. And so you're making this change, and this is a time for you to reemphasize, hey, here's what's important in all our small groups.
Right.
Whether you may have ground rules for your small groups, common values for your small groups, if you've determined those things, or if you don't, certainly use these. We value acceptance, confidentiality, honesty, and that probably needs to be a part of session 0, or the initial session that your small groups have. Just talking about, hey, we value this. Here's what this group is, just like in person. And I think kids are, I don't know, but I feel like kids are going to be sharing more openly, unless their parents are just, hanging out in the back room.
And that kind of, that kind of concerns me a little bit.
Okay? Yeah. But if they can't share that with you, they're just going to go tweet about it.
Exactly. Well, maybe.
And so, we want them to know that they can share these things. Yeah, this is the safest place they have. Their family and their church family, that's the safest place they have. So they can share their doubts, and they can share what they don't understand. And that's an exciting part of this for me, because I'm thinking there's going to be a lot. These kids are going to share a lot more online, and it's scary.
Yep.
But in that tension, that's where we gain that traction, that friction, and we create that traction, to let the gospel do its work, and an incredible opportunity.
So how to host a good small group online? You said remind people of our values and what we're trying to accomplish. So one of my goals as a small group leader is to help these students to understand that they need to be having pursuing personal disciplines every day, reading the Bible for themselves regularly, memorizing scripture, journaling. And, this is just a new season. It's new opportunity. It's new excitement. It's new challenges. So re-stressing those familiar songs about, or familiar ideas about quiet times and reading the Bible and studying the Bible for yourself. I mean, there'll be new habits formed during this crisis that kids have walked away from or never even considered. So we need to be diligent to make sure those are happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Stephen, I saw that you raised your hand. Stephen Crane, what you got?
2 questions. Mike, did y'all already have this infrastructure kind of in place where you'd meet in small groups over online?
Honestly, we sent all of our parents the Zoom code on Saturday. And then Sunday morning, my Sunday school class met online.
Okay.
I mean,
because I was wondering about that, because I don't know. I wasn't sure how long it would take to implement getting everybody onto Zoom or Google Hangouts or YouTube Live or whatever.
Right.
You end up using.
This is going to sound crazy, but I walked downstairs and my wife was on her computer. I had my laptop in my hand. I had my iPhone. I handed my iPhone to my son, who's in 6th grade. Okay. And evidently I had taken Zoom off my iPhone. And so in the time it took me to open my computer and log on, he'd already downloaded the app and was up and running. So, I mean, it was literally, we started at 10 o'clock and by 10:01, everybody was in place and going. And I can't believe that my 6th graders, their screen names, Laurie, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I don't think she had an account before the night before. So, I mean, I think you can do it within 2 or 3 minutes, really. I mean, I would give myself longer than that, but it's not a week setup. It's half an hour tops.
Okay. And then I guess the other thought, which I guess we're going to get to it eventually, but like, since we don't know how long sort of this self-quarantine status will be,
Yeah.
what would y'all recommend about, like, do we continue through a study that we were already doing? Do we do to something else? Do we try to slim down what we're trying to do so that it can be better for online? Do we make it much more discussion based, or do we stick to here's a lesson?
Oh, what's up, man?
Yeah, that's sweet. Was that sweet? That's real, baby. That's real life.
Wesley
Okay.
want some new Jordans or something?
He was so he came to get the charger. That
Oh,
was
that's
plugged
real.
in. Yeah, so he turns in his phone here at night, because we're good parents. And
Well, Betsy is. That's pretty awesome. So to answer that, anything you want to do in person in real life, you want to try and continue online. And so you want to still be establishing the small groups. And if I don't know how you feel about, your ministry. For me, I would rather have the small groups and discipleship groups than our large group time together for high school ministry. I thought that was more vital for their spiritual health than it was to hear me preaching or to hear somebody else who's pretty good for a 16-year-old, singing. Right. And so, I'm not trying to project that your youth ministry is like mine, just saying. And so,
as far as
whatever you value, you want to
series,
continue doing online. Sorry, Mike. What?
Yeah. So the question was, does he carry on his series, or does he do something new? Right? Is that right, Stephen?
Yeah. That was basically the gist.
And Cameron, you would say you'd go back to normal as soon as you can and just go back to the normal, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to stop the series.
Okay.
If for you to still share that, for you to still preach, that can still happen. For you to still have that devotion time to share, YouTube, Facebook Live, those things, still make it easy to get that information out, and then to have those follow-up small groups, whatever your structure was like.
Right.
Definitely.
So if you're doing that, if you're continuing with a series you've already started, I would say add some time in the beginning and the end to talk about the current situation, such as, how are you ministering to your family now that you're stuck at home with your family? How are you serving your community? I think if I was using the same series, then I would add something relevant from today.
Yeah.
What stocks are you looking at as they crash? That's probably a different conversation for a different day, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. If I was continuing on the same one, I would add elements that I thought were beneficial for this specific time.
So the one thing we've touched on it a few times, partnering with parents is really key to effective youth ministry. And especially now that the medium has changed and you start doing stuff online, there's a lot of questions. You want to be able to communicate with your parents and share, just like you have to share with your pastor, hey, here's the vision, and, here's the vehicle. Here's how we're going to get there. And so Jesus is still reigning. He's still important. Your kid's spiritual health and maturity is still really, really important. And so we're, going to continue these small groups, make sure you're able to do that. But one of the things we want to encourage you to do is to cue the parent, get those parents information, and have them, whether you got to have your kids fill out an online form so you can get all the parents' cell phone numbers or email addresses, but you want to make sure that your small group leader, or you, based on what your structure is communicating to cue those parents. Don't leave them in the dark. Don't leave them wondering what their kid's doing, because their kid's going to ask to use the device and the parent's just going to say no. That's the easiest no there ever was. Hey, can I go do something online that you don't know about? No. Right. That's easy. Thank you for the softball, son. Go play with your toys. Right. So we want to set them up, better than that. And so this is going to take, some work if you don't already have that system in place to communicate with parents, but let them know what is going on. Don't miss that. Don't miss cueing the parent.
Right.
Yeah.
And this opportunity, we can't stress this enough. This is an opportunity. This is an opening. This is a new start, a do-over for you to connect with parents. So, for instance, hey, Mom, I'm just going to send you a kind of the highlights of our small group meeting and some discussion points that you might have with your student. Anything you can do to help mom and dad become disciple makers at home. I know that's not really the context of a small group, but man, if I knew the material that my son was going over in his small group, I could talk about it. I could work it into our conversations in the car.
Yeah. And so there's two ways to do that. You can send, after you have the message or the small group, you can send the parent follow-up stuff, or another way is you can send the parent stuff in advance that they're going to be talking about in small group to start the conversation with the family instead of starting that conversation with the small groups.
And it's probably a good time to, once a week or once every 2 weeks, just have a Zoom meeting with your parents just to say, hey guys, how are y'all doing? I know you're shut up with your kids and I love you and I'm praying for you. Just a thought,
Yeah. Or also make sure the groups that those parents are in, hopefully, are communicating also about the students groups, that those are still going on. These aren't siloed things between, the small groups that the kids' parents are in and the small groups that the kids are in. And so you may have to do some work to make sure that those strategies are integrated as opposed to just freestanding silos. Like it's
Right.
just so easy to do in church life for sure. I like the idea of having parents, do something have a call with the parents or something too.
Yeah. So, hey, Cameron, the question, have you tried to do something like sing together?
On a Zoom call, you wouldn't want to
try
do
it
that.
now.
We could try it now. Okay, everybody ready? G. Okay. No, so Facebook Live works really well for that, and I know Georgia Baptist has I think they had stuff at like 11 and 2 today about how to do a Facebook Live. But yeah, so I would definitely look into Facebook Live or YouTube for something like that, because the video comes in and you can do like our family did on Sunday morning. We're up dancing, doing the movements with Lickler's preschool class or whatever. And then, then it goes to big church. Right. And, it's the same thing. So
y'all jumped up and danced with
with Lickler. Yeah. You think she let us sit down? Are you kidding me?
So it worked.
Oh yeah. I got exercise for the day. Thanks, Jesus.
So when we were having our, watching our worship service, with my kids, this was not on Zoom, it was YouTube. There were moments in the worship songs that my sons kind of sang along.